Okay, okay. Yay! I was a little confused because I had texted you and I was like, hey, we saw him for 6:30, and then he didn't respond. But then I'm glad you called me because I'd have been like in
Well,
the
I'm realizing now that I think I've reached 5,000 texts, and now
What?
my phone, yeah, and now my phone isn't like receiving. Text me right now. I
Oh,
just switched over the thing for it to like delete old messages.
uh-huh. I'm gonna text you and I'm gonna say hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It just went through. It's okay if it didn't. We're here.
Mm-mm. Well, that means I'm not getting other texts.
Uh-oh.
Fuck that. It's time to clean house.
Yep, most definitely.
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't get. Mm-mm. Nope.
Oh no, that's not good.
Well, that's not good. Okay.
Is you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You're good. You're good. So, we had a very beautiful and I felt like a very empowering conversation last week. Every time you and I speak together, I feel like I come off like a very beautiful high. I feel like I feel so in touch with myself, with my essence. I feel in touch with you. I'm like very clear about like my mission in life, about how I see the world. I feel like you and I are we're like kindred. We're very much kindred. And I just, yeah. And I just want to for everyone that's listening and watching, um, I'm doing the project Black.Queer.Alive, and I said, hey, I'm gonna focus on black gay men or black queer men, and you were like, boom, you know, you need to expand this. You need to talk to more people, get more visibility, more voices. And I was like, you know what? I'm just being lazy at this point, and uh, MJ's right. So I want to thank you for that,
You're welcome.
because the all the conversations that I've had, I mean, in this whole week have been so revealing, and everyone just is coming from a different perspective. But I think at the end of the day, what everyone's really seeking is like, I just want to live, I just want to breathe, and I just want to fucking make it somehow, some way.
I want to be heard. That's where a lot of us are like, don't see through me or
Mm.
dismiss me, because I don't fit into whatever category or non-category or whatever. So therefore my opinion doesn't have value. I think that's where I get a lot of my roughness. I've been told I'm very rough and very upfront and very aggressive. They love to call us aggressive. They love to call femmes aggressive when we shake their feathers.
Mm. Let's get some grounding before we start
Yeah,
shaking fucking feathers, because I'm ready.
yeah.
Tell us your name, your age, where you were born, and your occupation.
Okay, and I have the questions here.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Name MJ Brown / Miss Barbie-Q. My age is 48. Love my age. Um, my occupation, my full-time day job is I'm the project coordinator for a project called Project 90 at the Los Angeles Centers for Alcohol and Drug Abuse in downtown Los Angeles. But my other hustle, other gigs, is that I'm a professional drag queen, writer, singer, producer, curator, storyteller, spiritual practitioner, and actor, and soon to be executive director.
Yes, yes, all the titles. I feel that. And just for some background, you and I met during a play that was written by Lily Jackson. It was called "Comb Your Hair, Don't Look Like a Slave."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I remember the first time I had ever seen you was at the Anna Broom Room at Art Share,
Mm-hmm.
and you were singing Kelly
Mm-hmm.
Soul, and I remember thinking like, who is this fierce queen? I want to get to know them. Will that ever happen? I don't know. And then the first day of rehearsal for Comb Your Hair, I remember seeing you and be like, yay, I get to work with them. This is exciting.
Yes. Yes, hon. I remember you performed at Anna Broom.
Mhm.
You performed something. And I was like, Anna Broom don't ever have no black people.
She don't. She still don't.
She does, right? She'll never have no black people. So who's this person? And I think you did poetry?
Mm-hmm.
Did poetry that night. And I was like, she's articulate, fierce, beautiful. Whatever she's doing, I want to support her.
Oh yeah.
Whatever she's doing. And then universe brought us together on Comb Your Hair. And that whole experience was just so delicious. I had never been in a theater show where we checked in with each other.
Whew, I mean, I remember those check-ins being so intense. Like I knew I had to bring it because everyone else brought it. And it was like, we're going to check in with each other as soul sisters first, and then the work is subsidiary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I'm,
was
I'm, I'm actually going to take that picture. It's a picture of all of y'all braiding my hair
mm-hmm.
that I think Lily took of all of you braiding my hair because I had that show before the play before this play, our play, and we had to put all my hair in pigtails. And someone clipped a picture of all 5 of y'all crowded around me braiding my hair, and it's in black and white.
Oh, I remember that pic.
Yeah, so I want to take that one and put that on Mixed Tiles or one of those apps where you can make it into a picture because that's a fierce picture.
Yeah, I felt like it was symbolic of kind of everything that we had gone through in that journey for that particular play.
And
Mm.
I wasn't used to someone helping me. I
Oh,
wasn't.
really?
Yeah, it was one of those moments of like, who said it? I think it might have been Sky or might have been Lily of like, oh no, I can braid my hair. No, uh, uh, uh,
Karen
uh,
Day?
it might have been Karen. Karen is like, we all know how to braid hair. Let us help you.
Oh,
And I was like, but I don't need any help. She goes, I know you don't need any help, but
but let me help
but
you.
let us help you anyway.
Mm,
And I was like, okay,
that was
okay,
powerful.
yeah.
I'll never forget that play. I'll never forget it. I feel like so much in my own life opened up after that. We're grateful. I'm grateful to Lily. Thank you, Lily. Shout out to Lily Jackson for that.
Lily, my gender expression.
Yeah, there you go. What's your gender expression? And if you feel comfortable, your sexual identity.
Of course. It's evolving.
Ooh, I like
My gender expression is trans as of April 16th, 2020. It is trans femme, non-binary. My pronouns are they, them, she, hers.
that.
And my sexual identity as queer. Identify as queer.
What was your progress to feeling comfortable in a trans femme non-binary existence? Like, was this something that happened for you at a young age, or was this like a process that you reached, or that
Um,
do you feel that is constantly evolving?
First of all, let me preface that I never thought I was allowed to evolve.
Ooh.
I was taught that you had to either be a gay boy or you had to be a trans woman, boobs and all, hormones and all, silicone and all, and there was no in between. Um, I was taught at a young age that life would always be difficult being Black. So when I came out gay, my mom was like, well, things are just going to get harder. And when I came out as a drag queen, she's like, well, things are going to get even more harder. And when I came out as trans femme, she was like, well, why are you just making things difficult for yourself?
Wow.
And I told my mom, if I don't do this, I will die. My soul, my heart, which will equal me being an addict, which I am, but I'll be in active use. I said, do you want me to drink again? Do you want me to go back to meth again? I need.
What was, if you feel comfortable talking about this, what was
All of it, baby.
your journey into addiction? Like, how did you get into it? How did you come out of it? And what would you tell people, especially queer people, who are dealing with addiction at this point?
Ooh, there's so many layers to this, because as a person of color, we're told don't be a statistic, right? Don't be the one that doesn't finish college. Don't be the one that's an addict. Don't be the one that doesn't make it, quote unquote, or be successful or whatever that is. So I didn't have my first drink till I was 21. You know, the fear of a black mother will keep you sober.
That's so real.
You know, fear of an ass whipping will keep you sober real quick. But when I turned 21, I had my first drink. I didn't have my first hit of pot till I was 25. I didn't have my first hit of coke till I was 32. I had my first hit of meth at 33. The hindsight, looking on it now, I've always had an addictive personality. It's just, probably my first addiction was probably cartoons and cereal and Soul Train. You know, cartoons, cereal, and Soul Train on the Saturday morning.
Good.
That's how I was. I'm good, right? I'm good. That's what it was. And you turn that off, and we were gonna have words. I knew a lot of words. And my second addiction was reading books. You know, healthy things. But once I started smoking and drinking, the drag life, I started doing drag in 1991. And my experience, and I've shared this in many 12-step meetings, my experience of drinking and drugs is different than most. Because being a performer, you walk in, you put your stuff down in the green room or where everybody putting their shit down at, and they ask you, what do you want to drink?
First thing, do you need a drink ticket, or what do you want to drink?
What do you want to drink? And I would say, I want a Cape Cod. And they didn't just bring like, here. No, they didn't be like, here. They bring like the whole bottle.
Yeah.
The whole bottle. Here's a bottle of vodka and a bottle of cranberry juice. Have at it. So.
And if they know you have like a special fix, and this is because we worked in nightlife before, if they know you have a special fix, here's 3 lines, set it up. Like, here you go. What do you need to get on?
If I wanted a hit, a snort, a blow of something, you know, and their kids love their drag queens. So that I was never without drugs and stuff. You know, and then I started working the door at the clubs. You know, cut to me working the doors at the clubs at downtown LA and underground stuff. And if the girl with the coke was coming, she was slipping me a 40 or she wasn't getting in.
That's real.
You know, that's real. Yeah. You know, the guy with the edibles was coming, he was edible and 40 of weed. Cause you going in there selling your shit and I'm letting you in free. You gonna give me some.
Yeah.
So it wasn't uncommon for me to have a purse full of, you know, ecstasy, MDMA, weed, coke. And then when I got introduced to meth became like this. It's I don't care what Rick James said. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Meth is a hell of a drug. Because meth took over the reptilian mind.
Okay.
You know, the reptilian mind tells you to eat, sleep, fuck, go to bed. You know what I mean? But meth took over each one of those where I didn't want to sleep. Like meth made you horny in the beginning, but near the end, I wasn't having sex with anyone. And it just took over everything where I had like a $300 habit and I became homeless. So I wasn't paying my bills. I wasn't even looking for a job, but I wanted to get meth. And I realized I was using because I was afraid and I was in pain.
How did you come to that realization of realizing this is a habit, this is a bad habit or an addiction? I'm afraid and I need to get out of this.
um, Damn, hindsight's a motherfucker. Um, there were these moments in the middle of the addiction where I was like, this is dangerous. You know, I remember partying with some dude at some apartment that was a tweaker den, and he opened up his backpack and a gun fell out. And he goes, yeah, I carry this when motherfuckers want to pop off. And I was like, oh, okay. And not thinking we're smoking dangerously enormous amounts of meth that makes us paranoid. He could pop off and kill me. Like, it didn't even fathom my head. All I could think of was, how do I smoke some more and how do I get into his pants? You know, that like and I remember this one time I have a scar. I don't know if you can see it. It's over here.
Telling me
Yeah.
You had a gig.
I had a gig.
Yeah, and you just, well, you could go ahead.
I had a gig and I cut myself shaving my chest and the blood started coming. It was that kind where you cut yourself and it's white. And the blood started coming, and they, you know, whoever I was with said, you know, you're bleeding. And all I did was take some makeup and put it on it and kept on painting, because I knew that if I didn't make it to the gig, I wasn't going to get the money to get my meth. See all that's connected. So I don't have time. Yeah, I don't have time to worry about a cut. You know, in essence, I didn't have time to worry about me. I wasn't important. The meth was important.
How long have you been? I don't know if this is a proper language. Clean. Is that what you?
Yeah, clean, sober. Clean and sober. Narcotics Anonymous calls it clean. AA and CMA, which is Crystal Meth Anonymous, calls it sober. I have been sober for 6 years.
Congratulations.
7 years in September.
How do you, in this present moment, combat the feelings of wanting to go back, or wanting to slip back into past behavior? Or do you feel like this was just like a part of your past?
I keep it fresh. I speak at meetings. I'm very open and visible and vocal about my sobriety, especially within the club scene. There's a lot of sober drag queens and DJs and performers who need to know that you don't lose your fuerte, your fire, your artistry fire just because you're sober. And so I keep that very much to my heart. Schizophrenia and bipolar runs in my family with my grandma and my brother. And the doctor, because I was hearing voices and, you know, it was psychosomatic. So I was feeling the voices talk to me and they would tap me. And the doctor said, if you go out again, you could go into a permanent psychosis.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I don't want to be talking to my burrito. you know, I'm making funny, but the psychosis was real. Like, I used for 14 years, and for like 5 of those, I didn't hear voices. But for the rest of those years, I was hearing voices on a constant basis.
Wow.
Yeah. And it will be between 3 to 10 voices at once.
Wait,
So
were you able to distinct? This is just me being fucking curious. I'm weird. Were you able
I have to write about this.
What happened?
I have to write about this. I'm writing about this because
in a play form.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, because the voices were very distinct, and the way it's amazing how your mind will unleash your worst fears on you. Forget what anyone else can do to you. Your own mind will just unleash this fear that you never knew was possible. Like the way my mind would work was that I'm talking to you right now. It would take your voice, put your voice in my head, and have you talking to me, talking all kinds of shit to me. You ain't nothing. You never gonna amount to nothing, nothing but a big fat drag queen, blah 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 blah. And then you're sitting there talking to me right now, and I hear your voice and your voice in my head clear.
That's so scary.
Yeah, and so add meth to it, and I'm thinking you're fake. The voice in my head is real, so everything you're saying to me doesn't mean shit. Everything you're saying to me is fake because the voices in my head is telling me what you really think of me, not knowing it's my own mind telling
That
me what I think.
switching that. Wow. I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's called a meth-induced psychosis.
Do you have any advice for, I mean, you mentioned, hey, there's a lot of sober queens
Yeah.
out there that are still actively working, that are still powerfully, fiercely themselves. Do you have advice for queens who may be in their own dark night of the soul and trying to
Well, I say this for any artist. For any artist that's out there for any artist that's out there that's finding the drug scene a dark place, call some people, call AA, reach out, reach out to other artists who you know who are sober, talk to someone, because I realized I was using because I was running from my transness. I was using because I didn't love myself. I didn't love my body. I didn't love my skin. I was using to numb the pain that I had from being molested and being hit by my stepfather. I didn't write songs about it. I didn't write poetry about it. I didn't make a play about it. I just wanted to numb it all.
Mm.
And so the best way to numb it all, is put as much drugs in me as possible.
At this point, what are you searching for?
Ooh. At this point, I'm searching to be of use, of service, to fulfill some passion, some of my passions. At this point, I'm searching to find a place where I can evolve and grow and provide a place for other people to do that too, whether it be through my friendships or lovers or career-wise or co-workers, allowing that space that people can feel comfortable to question.
Mm. I love that.
Copy this recording. This is good.
It is. I'm like, ooh, I feel the Who's the first person on screen, in music, or on stage that you felt connected to?
Ooh. Black or anyone?
Just anyone at any age. Or you could do several people.
It's several people. I'm a huge movie buff. So I remember seeing the first time I watched Fame,
Mm.
the original Fame by Alan Parker, and that whole evolving of them as artists and how they grew and fell and stumbled and fell, and Leroy couldn't read and but was a great dancer. So it was like this beautiful complexities of like he's this beautiful dancer, but he can't read for shit, and how we bring that darkness with us and we can use it to our advantage. I forget that we can use it to our advantage. Same thing with West Side Story. Watching West Side Story, the original West Side Story with Rita Moreno.
Yes.
Oh, It was something about watching Rita Moreno when she's dancing at the gym and she does this fan kick with her legs. I still get chills thinking about it. She does this fan kick with her legs in West Side Story that I'm like, not only is she amazing, she loves what she does.
Wow.
Loves what she's doing. She loves it. There's like this, like, she was like free as a bird dancing. And I was like, I want that. I was like, whatever that is, I want that kind of freedom that comes when you're right in the moment and stuff. Watching Prince perform, watching
Prince perform live?
no, no, but just watching any artist like that when they're in their zone, you know, even you watching you in your zone, girl. Oh, watching you in your zone is like, it's otherworldly.
Thank to you.
No, and I get it too, because most performers don't remember a damn thing they did on stage because you were just in it. You don't remember. You're not supposed to remember because you're in the moment. And that kind of stuff. And same thing with writing. Reading Alice Walker's Color Purple. I read it back in high school. And I was like, how does someone who's been beaten and hit and told that she's nothing and told that she's ugly still find hope? Still manage to, you know, and you know, universe brought Sophia, and universe brought Shug, and universe brought all these other people in her life to tell her to talk to her, talk to those voices in her head. To see her, to tell her that she's beautiful. And I realize how many times people look at me and tell me things because that's God speaking through them to me. When someone tells you you're beautiful, you know, sometimes they want to get in your pants, but most of the time it's God speaking to them, to you. Universe telling you, you know, oh, I thought about you today, or I was hoping, sending you love. That's God showing you love right through those people.
What was your inception into becoming an artist? Like when you decided, I'm Miss Barbie-Q, I'm a drag queen, I'm an actor, I'm a writer. Like, what was that process like?
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. I didn't set out to do drag. I didn't set out to like do any kind of art. I knew I liked it. I started doing musical theater when I was in high school. I remember dropping off my sister at her rehearsals, and I was like, "What is this?" It was at this theater company, and the lady looked at me and she said, "Do you dance?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "We need boys. You need boys in theater. You know how it is back in the day. There was no boys ever." Yeah, right. It was always like 4 boys for every 30 girls for theater, black theater. You know what I mean? So I remember going into the theater and auditioning for this play. It was a Christian play called The Cross and the Switchblade. Oh my God. And we playing gang members, and our colors were the one gang color was yellow.
Yeah.
Gang color was purple.
These are like the worst gang colors. I would not believe no yellow wearing Negro in the street.
We had on like yellow Adidas. We had yellow bandanas. We were like, hey, we gonna beat you up, homie. You. we did it. But there is something about being on stage and having audiences react that I was like, it didn't matter above my weight. It didn't matter of my skin color. It didn't matter. Like all of that faded away. And I remember I got a scholarship at that theater company, and I got, I got to do Godspell, and then I got to do Joseph, an Amazing Color Dreamcoat, and I got to choreograph, and I got to do all this kind of stuff. And I realized there's this magic that happens in theater that I was like, I like this. I like, because I've always loved the creative side of things.
Mhm.
Watching TV and stuff, I love the actors, but I love the people who created the show. Norman Lear, you know, um, uh, 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 Stephen Bochco, you know, Stephen J. Cannell. These were like the producers and the writers of the shows. And I was like, I want that. Aaron Spelling, he created Dynasty, those ones. And notice they're all white dudes.
Yeah.
But you know, and now I look at, like, you know, Ava DuVernay and Daniels and looking at what they're doing, you know, changing the script for Black people in our stories and our narratives, that I was like, I want to be a part of that, because I want to be part of how my story is told.
Mm.
I deserve it. At first I wanted to be a part of the story, how my story is told. Now I'm like, I deserve to be a part of how my story is told.
And this should be already like this is something that we should already be experiencing as artists in our own media.
Yeah, and yet there's still gatekeepers who won't let us in. But it was that whole creative process, and then I started saying yes to, like, yes, I'll do this acting show and put on yellow as a gang member. Yes, I'll sweep the floors and take dance classes and voice lessons. Yes, I'll choreograph my first musical. I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a vision of what it looks like. You know, I started saying, yes, I'll write my own stuff. And then when I started doing drag, I was like, oh, drag is fun. You know, I did it for Halloween. And then someone said, well, drag is just like theater. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me do that. And then I thought, well, you know, I'm going to do drag a little bit during college. I never thought in a million years I'd be doing drag for 30 years.
Wow. Has it been that long for you?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
1991.
That's impressive.
You know, I never thought I'd be doing it for that long and still have something to say, you know, and it's evolved, then I started merging drag and theater, merging drag and everything else I'm doing now too, where it's like, it's all a creative process. And so, and at first I used to be ashamed to tell people I'm a drag queen. You know, back in the 90s and stuff, a gay boy telling a dude that they're a drag queen is like, oh, well, good luck with that.
How
You
do you
know.
feel about the progression of dragness? Because you've been a part of it so long. Um, I know you're friends and you came up with a lot of queens that we're very like that the media and that popular people are very familiar with. I know you came up with like Raja,
Yeah.
the other queens. How do you feel about how it's progressed over time?
It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, like it is with any art that's been underground and now turned into mainstream, like grunge, like trip hop, punk,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Everyone loves it because no one knows about it. But then we complain because no one knows about it. And then when people start knowing about it, we complain because everyone knows about it now.
Yes.
So it's just, I'm happy for them of getting their success. I'm happy for them that they're being recognized for what they do. But I'm still it's taken on such a commercialization of it all, of like, it's not enough to like go to Ross and get a dress and then go to Rite Aid and learn how to do your makeup and learn how to turn that, CVS makeup and still look flawless. It's not enough to like, get some bird seed and put in your titties, honey, and, put on some heels that you tape together and go do a show and do a Grace Jones song and knock it out the park. It's not enough. Like they're telling us it's not enough. You need the $300 hair and the $600 breastplate, and you need $20 lashes and glitter on the lip. And if you haven't done a tutorial, if you haven't been on RuPaul's Drag Race, you're not your art. And you got to have a single out. You got to have content. Blah, 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 blah. It became this whole thing of like this new machine like the music industry and the film industry and the TV industry. It's become a drag industry where now kids are like, I can go to RuPaul's Drag Con with $1,000 and go buy a dress and a wig and hair, and poof, I'm a drag queen. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. A drag queen who's her worth knows how to connect with her audiences, knows how to be approachable, and knows how to. You give her a microphone and she can keep the audiences laugh if the CD is skipping in the back and you need to stall time. Yeah, you're a performer who knows how to take anything and perform and be approachable. You know, I've had drag queens backstage going, "Oh, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to. Oh, they want to touch me, or people want my autograph. I'm so tired of them." Bitch,
get it together.
get it together. Get it together. The people are there for you. Are there for the people. You are always there for. And one of the parts of being Miss Barbie-Q and why I've gotten to the field I'm in now with social work and stuff is that I've been at Mustache Mondays or Shits and Giggles, and some kid came up to, oh no, God bless Nacho.
I'm going to ask you about that next.
Love you, Nacho. But kids would come up to me and go, I just got kicked out of my house. I just came out to my dad. My boyfriend hit me for the 4th time. You know, Barbie-Q, can you talk to me? And I'll be in a room full of 300 kids dancing around, you know, living their life. And I'm in the corner having cocktails with somebody who's crying.
Yeah.
To me, that's the part of what it means to be a drag queen. Because they didn't run to anyone else. They came to me. They came to Mama Barbie-Q because they knew they could find shelter in that fucking storm. And to me, that's what a queen who's her worth is, a shelter in the storm.
A couple things that you said that I'm reflecting on when Mimi Tempestt first started, right? I'm one of those Mustache Mondays kids.
Monday babies, yeah.
I'm one of the queer kids, underground kids that came up in Mustache Mondays. If it weren't for that party, there would absolutely be no Mimi Tempestt. But I remember, like, when I finally decided that I wanted to perform, the only people who would book me were the drag queens, and I could only perform at the drag shows. So
Right.
a lot of my foundation as an artist comes from what I saw and what I experienced and what I learned from drag queens.
Well, what's interesting is that there's a history of femmes, women who started in the queer circuits. Bette Midler did that. You know, Bette Midler started in the bathhouses, singing in the bathhouses with Barry Manilow playing the piano.
Wow.
Right. You know what I mean? You know that. Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah. That's why Bathhouse Betty. That's what she was known as, and she was singing the bathhouses and stuff like that. Shakira, before Shakira became Shakira, used to go to the gay clubs and play a guitar, singing songs in Spanish about abortion and shit. And then she got,
Yeah.
then she got the record deal and blew up. But she would start off in the gay clubs too, where she would go from club to club and stuff like that. There are a lot of artists who started off going. Lady Gaga started off with Just Dance, started off going to the gay clubs, playing her song there, and then she blew up because then she got all these queer kids who got her fashion tips and did all her makeup and stuff. And then she blew up, but she always kept queer people around her.
And I was just gonna say that now that I've kind of like transitioned to like more of like I play more hip hop venues, or I play more like white venues with a lot more like white artists.
Uh-huh.
I never forget that, like, that foundation, like the culture of like how you operate at a drag party or at a queer venue. It just never fucking leaves me. Like, I know how to approach the promoter, how to talk to people, how to
Yep.
perform and connect. Like, that came all from the drag queens that I love and experienced at
Yeah.
a very early stage in my own process.
And you learn the ins and outs of it from being around for a while. I'm stepping into like producing and I want to start my own organization for trans artists. And I realized that after a while of doing this, you know how to host, but not just host. You know how to put a show together. You know how to make the flyer. You know how to announce people. You know how to run the whole thing.
Every facet of the party.
Yeah, every facet of the party, and you start going, okay, I know how to do all of this. Why don't they have drag queens who run their own parties? Why don't we? Why is that? And so I'm like, you know what does that look like for me? Because I could easily be like precinct, red line, you know, all y'all need to let me run my own show. Fuck all that.
And they would and they should.
They would and they should. But my site isn't on getting a weekly $50 gig for a queen. My sites are bigger than that. Yeah. My sites are now on like developing an organization to help queens heal. Got that. So their art is richer. You know what I mean? And so our art comes from this place of not just pain, but from pleasure. That fan kick. It comes from the fan kick, not from the tears. You know what I mean? You feel me?
Before we go into the future, let's bring it back. Yeah. What is Mustache Mondays, or what is Mustache Mondays? And tell us about your relationship to Nacho Nava and how that party, what that party meant to you.
Oh, goodness. My history. Mustache Mondays is a weekly party that started off in downtown Los Angeles that was geared more towards queer kids of color. It showcased dance, it showcased music, it showcased DJs, it showcased up and coming people, and it provided a space for us to learn how to network and to find our worth. Now, it was founded by Total Freedom, Nacho Nava, and Josh Peace. Those were the three trifecta that started it. I knew Josh Peace when he was 18 years old, DJing in Orange County where I went to college.
You said that.
Yes, hon.
18-year-old Josh Peace.
18-year-old Josh Peace sneaking into the clubs, not because he wanted to drink, but because he wanted to DJ. That's the kind of boy that, I love that boy so much. He's family, and he's always had an ear for music. He's always had an ear. Like, he would send me house songs and be like, you got to perform this. You got to perform this. You got to perform this song. He still does that. He'll send me some track that's not out and be like, Barbie-Q, learn this. You need to perform it. Perform it before it comes out. And Nacho had this ear for finding people who he knew he could help hone and mold and craft and provide the space for them to try stuff. Nacho had this like just knack for that. But they all had a knack of making it family. They all had a knack for making everyone feel at home, and the crews that helped run the party, like Danny and Abel and me and Karina and Nadia Jenkins and all those cats when we first started and stuff, when we started at Charlie O's, which is now the Down and Out. You know, he would have Ryan Huffington and his crew like perform some art shit. He'd bring in people from San Francisco or Berlin just to try out stuff. It was like this beautiful, eclectic party that was nothing like West Hollywood. Yeah. Nothing like fucking Silver Lake. Nothing like any of that. And the key was, we didn't give a fuck if we did. Yep. We didn't care. But the music was popping. And the Total Freedom knew how to like take beats and like Chewbacca that bitch. He would take beats and be like, what the hell did you do? Oh, I was just playing around. And his ear for stuff. So all three of them have this knack for like really making the party unique. And every night was never the same, you know, and he always believed in his chances for everyone, you know, and Josh Pease saw that I had 30 years. Okay, I've been doing drag for 26 because I took 4 years off. And Josh saw this book, got there, and he said, you know, you got to start doing this Barbie-Q again. And a boyfriend, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. You know, I'm done with drag. You know, it's worked its way out. And he goes, no, because the kids at Mustache Mondays need you. Because the kids at Mustache Mondays need Miss Barbie-Q. He goes, just come host, be the host. And so I got to host. I said, okay, fine, I'll check out your little party. And so I checked out the party, and I was like, this is nothing like LA that I've ever seen. I want to be part of this. And so I started hosting there. And I hosted there for 3 years.
What years were those? Because I came into Mustache like in 2013, 2014. Like that was my...
I came into Mustache back in 2003. 2003, 2004, around that time. 2003, 2004, and then I hosted Mustache until 2007, and then 2007 I moved to downtown and started doing the door at Shits and Giggles, which is a sibling of Mustache. So Mustache was on Mondays, Shits and Giggles was on Fridays.
Okay.
That was in downtown too, with Chris Bowen and Victor Rodriguez. Two white boys, but they had their ear for music was like
when Chris Bowen plays a party, I fucking check it out.
His ear is, you know, they're both music snobs, so they would play shit. They were playing LCD sound system before they even blew up.
I mean, talk about playing Hercules and Love Affair,
Hercules and Love Affair and shit. Yeah, they were playing them before it even blew up. They were playing Sia before we even knew who she was. You know, they were playing, you know, I'm the girl you lost to cocaine. There's a song that Sia does. I'm the girl that you lost to cocaine. And I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, that's Sia. I was like, what?
Who the fuck is Sia?
What is Sia?
Yeah.
You know, but they were like on top of that too. And that was when me and Zachary started doing the door at Mustache Monday. So working the door wasn't always this dark thing. We're always about providing the space for people to evolve and have fun. And we didn't care about sexuality. It wasn't straight, gay. You know, we had such a big mix of people. That it attracted celebrities. It attracted fashion people. It attracted rappers. You know, it attracted Zelia Banks, Drew Barrymore. You know, they all started coming out because they felt, yeah. You know, Robin came through one night. You know, it was just one of those parties that we didn't need to. We were underground and we liked it that way.
I remember walking in like to my first Mustache party and being like, what the fuck is this? And why have I never I felt so at home. I was like, this is the queer reality that I've been searching for my entire life. And why have I never experienced this before? Like
One word, free.
Oh, exactly. Free. And even if it lasted for one Monday night and I knew that I was going to be hungover as fuck for class the next day,
I would ask them, why y'all gotta have this on Monday, yo?
That used to be
like, why can't we Mustache Saturday or Mustache Friday night? Why can't they're like sorry, Mondays? So you knew to like save your energy up, call in sick.
Or or just know that you were gonna show up to class tired as hell, or hung. For me, it was, I'm gonna be tired as hell and I'm gonna be hungover. But I remember sweating, like dancing,
Yeah.
like my last, like till my skin couldn't move anymore. I just felt so free. It was that.
And there have been parties throughout the years that I've gone to that have been like that. Dirty Dirty House is one of them. The people would just, it'll just be a tribe dancing their asses off. There used to be a club called Does Your Mama Know back in the day, back in the 90s. The kids will show up at 2 a.m. to get to.
Uh-oh. I think
I
you
mean, because they knew the music was good. They knew the music was good and the vibe was good. You know, there's these parties over the years that start to mean more to us
and just like the scene of it, it takes on like a soul of its own.
a soul of its own. Absolutely. And I'm so proud to have been a part of um, a lot of legacies. One thing about doing drag too is that now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm starting to get kids who saw me when they first turned 21, and now they're with their partners 20 years later, you know, and stuff, and they're like getting married and stuff, and they tell me, "You were the first queen I ever saw perform. You know, thank you so much for being who you are." You know, that kind of stuff where I just go, oh my gosh, I'm part of someone's history. I've hosted 1, 2, 3, 4 weddings now at the reception, and I've got to be a part of their wedding. Like they asked me to come and like perform at their wedding and stuff. And so, you know, I'll talk to these couples who've been together. Like this one couple, they've been together for 7 years. And they're like, you have been, you know, you are a part of our wedding history and you always will be. You
Wow.
know, that's what's up when you get to be a part of someone's life, you know, life history.
Memories, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you searching for?
Hold on, let me turn this on. Okay.
Like,
Oh shit. Okay. What am I searching for? I'm searching for let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna turn this off. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Hold on.
okay, you're good.
Okay.
Is that like I love that light.
It's one of these lights. It's like it's one of these lights.
Those camera phone lights where you get like the perfect
Lights.
light. I love it.
I'm searching for fulfillment. I'm searching for my place in this world. I'm searching for the next project. I'm searching for my next heartbreak.
Ah!
I'm searching for my next love. I'm searching for my next orgasm.
Ooh.
Right, right, right. I'm searching for the next level.
Next level.
Level up.
Do you feel like there's, because you and I talk a lot about process and progress and reaching like the depths and the wells that would exist in us. Do you think that there's like a finite point where you're like, you know what, I fucking made it? Or do you think it's just a ever going process of just existing and being our best selves?
For me, I don't just if just if I think I've scratched the surface on something and I'll like explore it and play with it and then I'll move on to the next thing. Going back to that and then like scratching off more, you know, and seeing how I am after I scratch it, you know, maybe smell it a little bit, you know. Maybe smell it a little bit. Go, ooh, okay. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. Ooh, that smells good now. You know, being able to go back and revisit some stuff. Not and one of the things I'm trying to get rid of all of this in my spiritual journey, artistic journey, trans journey is shame.
Ooh.
Getting rid of the shame of how I used to be, who I've become, um, what I think I should be, what I not, all those things. Getting rid of the shame of it and not going, yeah, that was a fucked up moment in my life. Why was that fucked up? Or that was a beautiful part of my life. Oh my gosh. And not get stuck in either one of those.
Oh.
Not get stuck on, well, that was the best part of my life and it's all downhill from there. Oh, hell no. No. If you notice, I never say that was the best moment of my life. That was the worst time of my moment. That was no, no. I've learned those the universe. I've learned the universe will go, oh, that was the worst time of your life. Let me give you a pandemic, bitch. Oh, that was the best time of your life. I'm gonna have you find someone who wants to kiss your stomach.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So the moments don't the moments is never the I made it, this is the height of whatever. To me it never, it's always like, okay, where's this flow going? And I'm still learning how to trust it. My trust is fucked up. My trust is like, fuck, my trust is, I'm still learning how to trust.
I got that. Let's do a pivot.
Yeah.
When's the first time that you realized you were Black?
I was thinking about this question at home, and I was thinking, we've always, in my house,
Mhm.
we've always known that we were Black. My mom had this big velvet picture of a Black woman with an afro, naked, those velvet pictures saying Black is beautiful. It said Black is beautiful, and it hung up on the fireplace. And I would look at it, and she would have pictures of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. My sister thought Martin Luther King was our daddy. Right? Wait, hold on. I gotta turn this light
Yeah, go for it. Oh my God.
on. She thought Martin Luther King was our father, hon. Because she had a picture of him up. So there was always a sense of Blackness. Um, it was never brought to my attention that I was Black until, okay, real tea. I feel safe. It's
Okay.
never brought to my attention I'm Black until other Black people tell me that I don't act Black.
Wow. That's
That's okay. Yeah, I'm scraping deep on it. I remember the first time this Black boy said, "Why do you talk like that?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Why do you talk like you're white? Why are you trying to pretend that you're white?" And I said, "Pretend? I'm not pretending to be anything. I'm Black." And he goes, "Well, you don't sound Black." And I said, "Well, what is Black supposed to sound like?" This is 7th grade.
wow.
What is Black supposed to sound like? And he goes, "Well, it don't sound like you." And I went home and I was like, "Mom, this boy said I'm not Black." She said, "Ignorant people will always try to pull you down to their level."
Mm. How did you internalize that?
I got defensive.
Mhm.
I got defensive because, in our Black world, calling somebody white is like,
That's a
"What
me.
you call me? What? What you call me?" You know what I mean? It's like, it's like that, You might as well say your mom was a crackhead.
Right. That's worse than being called a nigga.
Right? Almost worse. I'd rather you call me a nigga. But it became this I became very self-conscious of how to code switch. Code switches.
Yeah. So you code switched around black
Black people.
and not white people, or just solely black people?
Solely Black people.
Okay.
Or I learned how to slide in stuff. Even talking when I would go, well, you know how it is. Tastes like bitter and bitter and biscuits. I would learn how to add that head shake in, or that kind of stuff, and I learned how to do that. And there were still moments, which is why I used in drugs and everything else too. There were still moments in the Black community where a Black woman or a Black man would go, "You look gay. You look like a faggot. You don't match what we think you should be. I don't care how Black you sound. I don't care how white you sound. You don't belong."
Let's transition into this. When's the first time that you realized you were queer? And then how did your Blackness and queerness play out in you figuring out your identity?
I knew I was, okay. Queerness and gayness are two different things for me. Okay. Queerness, I knew I was queer when I knew I liked the obscure. I knew there was something quirky. I realized that in college when we would go to West Hollywood, or we would do the things that are mainstream gay, and I would go, no.
Okay.
I don't get that. I don't get the whiteness of West Hollywood, the homogenized part of West Hollywood, the naked oily man up on the screen. It's nice and all, but is that all your album? Is that album covers? Is that all your covers? Is that all your flyers? Is that all there is?
All the gay porn you're gonna play while we're down.
Yeah. And it's titillating, but after a while it's like, I need something more than that. I need something more queer. I needed something more queer. I knew I was gay when I started watching WWF wrestling. And for some reason, I was watching wrestling for all the wrong reasons. I discovered masturbation at 15 as well. Gotcha. So my mom's royal crown was always missing.
Ooh. Yes. That's interesting. So gayness, 15, wrestling, queerness, I'm West
when I
Hollywood,
got my 20.
and I'm sick of all these white gays.
Yeah. It was very much so of a homogenized, and especially when I found mustache too, and I started doing all that kind of stuff, and I realized that gayness evolves.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum of it. There's a spectrum of it, of how I want to present myself. And every queer person, I think, goes through this whole spectrum. When I first came out, I was wearing the rainbow rings. I dyed my hair blonde, I pierced everything. Wore short shorts. We go through these gay adolescence, as they call it, or queer adolescence, where it's like, stand up, fight up, fuck all y'all, that kind of thing. And then we kind of find our little niche of where our queerness is. Or,
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly, where we feel comfortable at.
Do you feel like your Blackness and your queerness have reconciled with each other?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are spaces that I go to as a queer person that my Blackness isn't recognized. And there are spaces I go into that are Black and gay, and my queerness isn't recognized. There are spaces that I go into that's Black and queer, and my transness isn't recognized.
Mm.
I feel like there's always a moment where I'm giving up one part of who I am. That's why when we have mustache or shits and giggles and you found those places, I could be black, queer, trans, all of it at once with no apologies. Hashtag free.
Hashtag free.
Hashtag free, where we found those spaces. And so when we find it in one space, we're like, well, why can't I find it here?
Yeah. It's like once you have it.
Once you have it, once you have a taste of some good kombucha, everything else is vinegar.
Yes.
Fuck, once you have that taste and stuff. And so I notice I can't go searching for it everywhere. I have to bring it with me. I have to bring it with me. I bring my blackness, my queerness, my transness, my non-binariness, my love, my home. I bring it all with me wherever I'm going.
When do you feel most safe? Did I ask that one? I don't think I did.
No, you haven't. I was waiting for it. It was on the question. I feel most safe when I'm around people who understand me. I feel most safe when I'm around when I'm in rehearsals with actors, when I'm backstage, about to go on stage. I feel most safe when I'm at home, binge watching something. I feel most safe when I can cry in front of people who love me. Those are the moments I feel most safe.
I want to throw it out there that I have felt most safe when I'm with you. You're one of the people where I feel absolutely, talk about free, um, like in my skin the most around. I want to thank you for that.
I hope you cry. Janelle Monáe, girl.
Right, the Janelle Monáe concert. Whoa.
I've never felt more free in that kind of environment with you and us driving there and the music and buying food and singing our asses off and crying. It was those moments I'm like, does it get any better than this? Oh my gosh. It was just like that whole experience was like, wow, okay.
This is love is. That's yeah.
You
That
know,
felt good.
it felt real good. What always is that?
If you can go back to your 12-year-old self, what would you tell them?
No, I was thinking about this. If I could go back to my 12-year-old self, I tell them don't use drugs or don't use meth at least. If I go back to my 12-year-old self, I'll tell them you will find love many times over in so many different ways. You'll find love with friends and lovers in music in art in books. Um, I would tell my 12-year-old self to be proud of who you are. And if you're wrong, admit you're wrong. When you're right, know in your heart that you're right.
That's
And
powerful.
stand by it.
That's powerful. What do you want to hear from your 60-year-old self?
Ooh, the sex is great.
Yes.
I want to hear from my 6-year-old self. Um, You made some amazing decisions. I want to hear from my 60-year-old self. You touched a lot more lives than you even realize. I want to hear from my 6-year-old self. You're on your 5th passport.
Yes.
You know, I want my 6-year-old self to tell me the love of your life is in the other room waiting for you.
Right.
I want my 6-year-old self to tell me that you can forgive, you really can forgive, and you can hurt, and you can cry, and you will still be stronger than most motherfuckers. I want my 6-year-old self to tell me, you a fierce ass bitch.
Let's pivot again.
Pivot.
Okay. We were talking about Black femmes, specifically Black trans women,
Yeah.
and how that population seems to be the most targeted within the Black community itself. Can you expand on your thoughts and feelings about that, and maybe some strategies that you see that people like me or people in the community could take on to make sure that we protect Black trans women?
Over 80% of the 80% of the trans people that were killed in this last year were African American. Not Latino, not Asian, not white, but Black. 75%, 60 to 75% of those people who were killed by Black men.
Mm.
There's a deep-seated hatred, loathing, fear of men who love trans women, men who think trans women are beautiful, Black men who love men, Black men who love trans women. There's a religious connotation on it all that we've hid behind for years, that we have that down low underswell of like, we'll tolerate you, we won't love you, but we'll tolerate you. And we're getting to this point of, I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be respected. You don't have to tolerate me, but you will respect me. And cut on the other side of that, Black trans femmes, Black trans women told that they're nothing but good for being on our knees, told that we're an abomination, told that we have no self-esteem, told that we're ugly, told that we'll never amount to anything but sex workers, told that we can't thrive and push forward because there's something wrong with our minds. You know, there's something wrong with us, so therefore might as well just succumb to it all. So we find ourselves putting ourselves in dangerous situations, you know, sex workers or whatever, what have you. We find ourselves letting men abuse us, letting men take advantage of us, letting men want us for our bodies and not our minds, and thinking that's all we're good for. So you add men who are ashamed to be with trans women in the Black society telling us that we're ugly and we're abominations. Then you have trans women and trans femmes being told that they're ugly, that they're amount to nothing, they're abominations. You got shame on one side and you got shame on the other. Both of them are going into each other. So the anger that Black men have had, and if you see a lot of these murders are by choking, stabbing, you know, they're up close and personal.
Yeah, they're
Violent. I mean, some are by gun.
No, but
like
some are by like, yeah, you're right. I mean, not to get graphic, but now that I'm thinking about it.
They're violent. They're violent. They're up close and personal violence that's happening. And and no one's saying, Black men, please stop killing Black trans women, because the value of the life of a Black trans femme or Black trans woman is not seen as valuable within the Black community. The Black community needs to see us as valuable people.
Mm.
Not just up on stage, not just on RuPaul's Drag Race, not just up kikiing. And I'm talking about the Black queer community. Not just the Black community as a whole, the Black queer community, Black gay community. Black gay men still have an issue with Black trans women.
Mm. Do you feel like that's the first level
That's the
that?
first and foremost, because it's Black gay men who are around other Black community people. They're deacons, they're choir directors, they're fucking, they're all over. They're hairdressers, they're stylists. Black gay men are all over the place, and if they don't respect Black trans women, the rest of the Black community won't respect Black trans women.
Mm.
But there's a divide on that. You notice I say Black gay men, not Black queer men.
No, Black gay men.
Black queer men get us, love us, respect us. Black gay men still go, oh girl, I can't keep up with these pronouns.
Mm.
And I've heard this from Black gay men. Girl, you change your pronouns too much. I can't keep up with it. That's not my problem. Now you're making it my problem. So there's these conversations that need to be had within the Black community that we just aren't having, because everyone's ashamed to talk about everything that revolves around HIV.
Mm.
We got that too. You know what? You gave me AIDS? We don't even call it HIV in our community. We call it AIDS still. Like we're in 1984.
Yeah.
There's a disconnect within our community. And when I see that and I get upset about it, I go, wow, there's so much healing that needs to happen. There's healing on, and I think of the children coming up that are trans or gay or queer in the Black community. And those are the clients I work with, and they're deep in addiction. They're in sober livings and homelessness and on Skid Row, because they have this pain that they couldn't get from anywhere else. So they had to numb it. So there's this healing that needs to happen. And what ends up happening too is that the fear turns to anger.
Wow.
And then you add in systematic racism, and you add in poverty, and you add in all those other things that have kept all Black people down. So the anger is not going. They can't hit every white man they see because they'll go to jail. But I can sure beat up that tranny who's sucking my dick and won't give me my money back.
Mm.
I can beat her up. I can take all my anger out on her. You see where I'm coming from? There's a generational anger that's already within our community. And I'm glad we're finally now realizing that there's a generational, it's passed on from generation to generation of anger and hurt and distrust and all those things. And it bleeds into our everyday lives. We can't categorize it and think it's just, with the white man and and that's it, and I'm angry at him. No, it bleeds into everywhere. It bleeds into people running over each other over a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
It bleeds into that stuff, and then they point at us and go, "Ah, look at those crazy Black people." Like, deep breath. Whew.
With that being the narrative that you may hear, or a lot of Black trans women hear, how do you experience love? Where do you find love?
After taking my spiritual practitioner course, I realized that love can come in so many ways. Um, Let me preface this by saying that I used to think I was above hookups and dating. I used to think, well, I'm intellectual. You know, I'm gonna find someone who loves me for me. You know, someone who wants me for my body has no substance. You know, I used to think I was that kind of bougie bitch. I was like, you don't love me for my mind. And come on, um, girl, I get it now on that yearning. There's like this deep seated yearning to be touched and held and made love to and fucked good that I've never had before.
I love that.
I've never had that before. And now that I have it, I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this?
Mm-hmm.
And is it love or is it just sex? So where did I find love? With friends who are my family. I've found love in men and partners. You know, I've had two partners who I'm still in touch with, who still both love me very, very much. I found love in creating and writing. I found love in laughter and friendships. And I'm now in that scraping off those layers. I'm now finding love for myself in that it's okay to want to get dick down.
Okay.
It's okay to like, just want to have sex and that's all, and still be safe about it, be open about it. No one's DLing me at, sneak into my house. No one's gonna smoke crack in my house. Like all those things. I find love in setting those boundaries for myself. You know, like all those things are in place so that when it's right, it's delicious, and when it's not, I can walk away.
It sounds like you find love in just being very clear about your desires. Like I
I'm
yearn for this.
I'm never being clear. I never thought I was able to be clear. Coming out trans, yo,
Yeah.
I would hook up with gay dudes. I would hook up with gay dudes or try to hook up with gay dudes, and they just wouldn't see me.
Mm.
They wouldn't see me, or they wouldn't want to be with me, and I would just yearn for them to like see me like you see homeboy over there. And I realize now they couldn't because I wasn't that. And now it's like, oh my goodness. Now I can find people who can see me for who I am and love my body. I had a dude the other day, he kissed my stomach.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Can you talk about that? What it's like to date as a fat queer person?
oh. First of all, we're not supposed to be dating.
Who fat queer people?
Yeah. First of all, we're not supposed to be dating. According to most of society, we're
Yeah.
not supposed to have sex. We're not supposed to be desired. We're not supposed to have any of that.
I'm supposed to be sitting in my room eating Twinkies all day.
Oh, Twinkies all day, listening to Jill Scott. God bless Scott. Angie Stone.
Right.
I'm
Maybe
supposed to be fat,
Adele.
I'm supposed to be fat and black, listening to other fat black women.
Yeah. That's just what I always felt I was supposed to.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So when I started putting out my profiles and telling people I'm thick, I'm smooth all over, I'm an alpha trans femme, which means I speak my mind. I was raised by a strong black woman. I'm looking for an alpha who can handle that kind of thing, and start laying out those things. I love theater and dance, and I'm sober and sane, and kissing's a must. But I'll suck your dick and make your toes curl, but you better make me come. That's what's up.
Yes.
Once I started being comfortable in putting that out, I realized it attracted a lot, and it got a lot of looky-loos, a lot of like, ooh, you're different, you know, you're like asparagus, you know, you're you know, you're different, you know, you're different. I like you, you know, that kind of thing. And then it started evolving to the ones who are like, I have been looking for you.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been getting those. I've been looking for someone like you. I love your thickness. I love your transness. I love your blackness. I love you're intelligent and you're smart, but you're sexy and you can get naughty when you want to too.
Hey.
You know what I mean? And we're taught as femmes, we're taught as femmes, we're either the hoe or we're the intellectual.
Yeah.
We're taught one or the other.
I'm
Huh?
battling that right now with myself.
You're either the hoe or the intellectual.
Yeah.
You know, I won't say saint because we ain't no motherfucking saint, but we're the hoe, we're the intellectual.
Actually,
But we can't be an intellectual hoe. Why can't we be an intellectual hoe?
I want to be an intellectual hoe.
I want some pig's feet.
I want hugs, mom.
I want both. Why not? So it's been this delicious journey of like, you know, talking to these dudes. Like I'm learning how to block people for the first time. My therapist is like, you need to learn how to block people. I'm like, but they're just, you know how hard it is to say hello to someone? If they say hello to me, I have to just honor that and just be okay with them, you know, saying hello to me. And he's like, look, you are worth so much more. If someone's not coming at you correct, or you're not feeling with them, you can nip that shit in the bud and let them wonder why.
Ooh.
I said, but don't I owe them an ex? Because I would go, I'm going to block you right now because you haven't really stepped up to the plate on what it means for me to be a trans femme. And I don't think you really understand what it means to like come correct as a man and me as a I would explain all of that.
Wow.
I would explain all of that. And they would be like, what? Huh? I don't understand. What's that word mean? I don't get it. Why are you so mad? You know?
Wow.
I would get I would get these dudes. And my homegirl Alyssa's like, girl, you gotta stop laying into these dudes like that. And I was like, but they need to understand. She goes, no.
Never gonna understand.
Block and move on. Block and move on. So let me tell you about the dude the other day.
Yes, who kissed your tummy?
The one who kissed my tummy.
Or your stomach.
My stomach, yeah. He Italian dude, really sweet. Um not real smart, but we carry on a conversation. And we were like, I brought him back to my place and we were you know, kissing and watching CSI and stuff like that. And you know how you're like in your shirt and in your pants and your panties are underneath.
Yeah.
And so he's like, do you want to take your pants off? And I'm like, I have big thighs. He goes, it's okay. So I take him off. He goes, oh, your thighs are so beautiful. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. And I had on satin panties. He goes, those are so pretty. And then he goes, and I had a tank top underneath. He goes, do you want to take your shirt off? And I was like, no.
Mm.
He goes, it's just me and you. I want to see your body. And immediately when guys say that, I think, ugh. But it's not like that all the time. It's what I realize how much I've been conditioned to think my body is awful. I've been conditioned to think I'm ugly.
And you're still working through that.
Oh yeah, still working through that. Still am. So I took off my shirt and he's like, oh, your breasts are beautiful, they're growing, your skin's so soft, da da da. And then I stood up for something. I think I was taking off something or something like that. And and he pulled me into him. You know, when a dude's sitting on the bed and his legs are open, he pulls you between his
He pulls you right in. You're like,
and he lays his head like right here. And then he kissed my tummy and started kissing me. And I was all, what are you doing? He goes, I'm kissing your stomach. goes, it's beautiful.
Did it just go over your head? How did you like? What
My
happened?
second, my second boyfriend Walter did that. My second boyfriend, he was a grinder hookup, and I was like, "You a grinder hookup? We gonna do this."
Mm.
And he did the same thing. I took off my top, and he went, and he knelt down and kissed my stomach, and I was all, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You're so beautiful," and I was like,
But you
"There,
are beautiful, Barbie-Q. You are.
thank you," and I'm learning that. I'm learning that there are people out there who love every roll, inch, flesh, stretch mark of it. Love all of it. And I'm like going, whoa. And when they love your body, they love your body. I was like, whoa, I've never had that before. And now that I have it, it's like, I kind of don't want anything less.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I don't want anything less.
Do you feel a distinction? Like, can you tell a difference between who is attracted to your body and who's fetishizing your body?
Because there's such a fetishization of trans people, that kind of goes hand in hand for me.
Okay.
The fetishization ones, those guys are like, so if I come over, you're gonna put on what you gonna wear? And I'm like, I don't know, tank top, panties. Oh, do you have any fishnets? And do you have any lingerie? And do you have any high heels you can meet me at the door with? And do you have, can you do your makeup? And I was like, that sounds like a lot of work
Yeah.
for a 20-minute hookup, boo. I'll spend more time getting ready than you will be fucking.
Yeah.
I was like, no. I was like, no, 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 no. And bless their hearts. I go, maybe I'm just not the right fit for you.
Mm. Black.
So yeah. So good luck to you. And that's it. And that's it. And most of the time they go, oh no, 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 no. I just want you just for you. And usually gotta cut through all that stuff, that kind of stuff. But I would love, and I'm trying to let universe do it for me. Would love to find a guy who I don't need those apps anymore.
Mm.
Or even in a polyamorous relationship, I'd be down.
You'd be down for a poly
Oh
relationship?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'd be down for a throuple. Absolutely. Or more than one. Absolutely. If I knew I was loved and my needs are taken care of, if it was one person, two people, four people, totally.
That would work for you.
I'm a
Wow.
busy, I'm a busy bitch.
If you could change your identity, would you?
I used to want to be white.
Why?
I thought they had it so much easier. I would look at white people and think they will never have to experience, even white gay guys, they will never have to experience the disdain of being Black. You know, because your question says if I could change my identity, does that mean gay, trans, or color, or whatever it is?
Anything. If you could, would you? So before it
I
was.
used to want, I used to want in the middle of my addiction and alcoholism,
Mm.
like my skin. I didn't like the way I talked. I still think my voice sounds weird, but there's so many parts about me that I didn't like. Actually, it's not that I didn't like, there's so many parts of me I hated.
Mm.
I hated my body, hated my skin, hated the way I talked, hated the way people looked at me, hated how even sexually, I just thought I'm just a hole to fuck in, and that's all I'm good for. So I get it. I get it now. Would I change my identity? No.
Why not?
I don't think my life, well, and that's putting down other people, but okay, for me, I don't think my life would be as rich. I don't think my life would be as well-rounded. I don't think I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be. And I don't know if it would or wouldn't.
Mhm.
I don't know. Um, to wish my path wasn't the path that I'm on is to question God's motives. And I don't question that.
Mm. So powerful. Another breath.
Yeah, to question my identity is to question God's motives.
And you don't do that. We don't do that.
No.
Is there anything that I didn't touch upon that you really want to express in this moment?
Yeah. I had never experienced sisterhood, Black sisterhood, until I did Comb Your Hair. I never experienced that with other Black women, of what that bond truly means, to step into that. And I've found it more and more here and there, but I've never had it that deep together. Why do you think that is?
Do you think that is for you in
For
particular?
black for black women and Black trans women. And by the way, I gotta give it up to I just found out my friend Octavia, who's a Black trans woman, passed away a couple of days ago. I'm still trying to confirm that she did, but according to what Facebook and people are posting, she passed away. A Black trans woman who didn't have a lot of friends, and she kept it that way. And I don't want to be that kind of person that keeps those kinds of friendships away. Why do you think that there's a disconnect between Black trans women and Black women? I think this will make a great play too.
I do think Black women have we see, not, I don't want to say we, but Black women are trained to see Black trans women as, one, a threat, or two, a caricature of Black women. Instead of being Black women, you're like a play on Black women. You're a caricature, a character of that. And
An exaggeration?
yeah, and I think that there needs to be, I know you were talking a lot about Black men that need to do healing, because they are the ones that are ma- on a majority level enacting violence against Black trans women. But I also think that Black women have to do a lot of work too. Um,
Mm-hmm. There's some healing.
right. Like I think I think we are trained to see Black trans women as a threat to the community. These are the outcasts. These are the outsiders. These are the ones that, or the people that are not with the system of heteronormativity, right? And and because my womanness can't be the same as your womanness because you chose that womanness, like, how dare you? I think that's the narrative that's happening. And I I don't know. I can't say these are my feelings, but these are feelings that I've seen. I remember, I will never forget. This is like at the height of my little addiction, my addiction moment, at the height of my after hours moments. And I remember there was one woman, and we were at a party, and all these men were very aggressive towards her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey sis, come over here. Like, fuck them. We're gonna create our own space. We're just gonna be here together.
She's a cisgender black woman.
Yes, yeah. She's a cisgender black woman. I was like, hey sis, we're gonna be over here. Fuck these motherfuckers. We're just gonna be in this corner doing our own thing. And I remember her
Yeah.
saying, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved me from those, men. I was like, cool. So a couple, maybe like a month and a half later, it was the same, black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just catching up with her, and she had made a comment about another black trans woman, and she said something to the effect of, yeah, I don't respect that person. They're just a failed man. That's why they're I'll never forget that. They're just a failed man. And when I heard that, I was like, bitch, like, I have literally stuck my neck out for you to protect you from these men. And I'm listening to you as a human being tell me that you degraded another black woman because they're, in your eyes, their womanness doesn't equate to you.
That's why I have such issue with Black Lives Matter and
Oh,
those kinds those kinds of organizations who don't recognize Black trans women as Black Lives Matter just as much.
you know what's interesting? I've talked about this with a couple of my interviews. So I saw a talk with Alicia Garza. She's
Mm-hmm.
one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, and the new project or a new initiative that she's creating is Black is the Future. And
Mm.
in that conversation, she basically said that Black people need to start creating scenarios or creating solutions to the problems that they see in the world. Like, it's one thing to acknowledge a problem, but it's one thing to begin creating creative solutions to the problems in which you see. And that's our responsibility as Black people, is to envision ourselves in that future. But I
Mm-hmm.
never knew that Black Lives Matter was something that didn't encapsulate Black trans lives in that as well.
And it's opened by what, lesbians, right?
I don't know. I don't know if they're lesbians or not. They're majority women, Black women.
But Black lesbians, like again, Black lesbians, Black gay men do not acknowledge trans women as women. They're constantly calling us by our government names and shunning us and not sticking, and the worst part is not sticking up for us in spaces where we're a part of their community.
Mm.
They made us the other because they've been made the other.
It's like, we'll get to you when we get to our shit.
When we get to our shit, but you ain't never gonna get to your shit.
I personally think any Black movement right now that doesn't have the protection of Black trans women at the highest of priorities is a fucking failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's to me, that's is the loudest and most least like looked at problem in the Black community. That's,
Black.
yeah, I feel like so many people today are so invested in the economics. Like, how do Black people, make money? We gotta own things.
Up and the line.
And it's like, yes, economic equality,
Empowerment, great, yeah.
but it's like it's like, why do Black women have to die at the result, or like as a subsidy? Like, why do you put this to the back burner? Why aren't you willing to fucking acknowledge this?
Because we're not supposed to be gay, or because they see us as gay. They see Black trans women as gay men, like she said, failed men.
Yeah, whew, which is my
So they
head.
so they see us as gay. Therefore, we're not procreating the Black race.
Mm,
Therefore, we have no usefulness.
mm.
We're not useful. The only reason people will acknowledge another part of a race or anything is if we're useful. If we're not useful, we have no relevance.
That's eugenics. The idea that humans should procreate and humans should be
Uh-huh,
of service and of product to the advancement
uh-huh,
of humanity.
uh-huh. Hmm. Absolutely, and you're right. There is a disconnect. There's a disconnect on so many different levels of that, and the anger has spurred on. You don't like me, well, I don't like you. Fuck it, I am gonna fool your man. Fuck it,
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take your
I'm
man.
gonna take your man. Fine, fuck it. You know what I mean? But it's a dark space to live in, and it's having dire, dark consequences.
Mm.
You know.
Well, that was my intention in creating these conversations, and I'm glad that you set me on the path.
Thank you. Thank you for being open to that. Thank you
Mm.
for being open to that because it is a conversation that um, our Black queer community needs to really, really address, discuss, um, find some kind of solutions, heal, you know, um, bring it to the forefront. You know, I don't say the struggle is real because then that perpetuates that there's a struggle, but
Mm.
there is a problem to be healed. Not the struggle is real, but there's a problem to be healed.
And healing is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the other parts I forgot to mention, part of the solution too is for mentorship of Black trans women and Black femmes to each other. Someone brought that up. Someone brought that up when we were talking about Trans Day of Remembrance last year. A trans woman in Florida was like, "Where's our mentorship programs? Where's our programs of older trans Black women mentoring young black girls? Where's that mentorship at? It feels like we all come out trans and everybody's on their own.
Do you foresee creating that space?
That's what I want to do with my organization.
Can you tell me about the vision of your, or if you feel comfortable? I know a lot of people.
No, I'm excited because it's something I've discussed with Kai. My friend wants to hook me up with a mentor to do it. My vision, I have a name for it, called
Oh, yes.
Transcending Art, and it's a organization that I want to found that'll take trans femmes and trans women artists and help them mold and develop and heal and for their art.
Okay.
A place where they'll have a platform to show their art, showcase their art, teach them how to write grants, help them make money. I will also be a manager too, that will book them at places too, make sure they're taken care of as the stars that they are. Um, I want to get a grant get to do my operating expenses and to really start these conversations of the capabilities of the Black trans experience, and that it's not just one-sided. We can be producers and directors and writers and creators and owners of our own work.
What do you think about the state of transness in media right now? There's a lot of, I mean, there's some names, some shows, some faces that we see now that we've never seen before. But what do you foresee in the future for transness, Black trans media?
I feel like we're on the forefront just as Black people were in the beginning of being on television.
Okay.
Just as we were playing slaves and hookers and pimps and thugs, in the beginning stages of Blacks on television, we're just in the forefront of that with trans people. Most of the shows, most of the shows still only talk about the white trans experience. or the white binary experience. Um, a lot of times I feel television sometimes puts us all in one show and think we've met our quota.
You know what's interesting? I feel that way, and I'm gonna say I feel that way about Pose. I checked out of the show because I'm like, not every Black trans person is in the ball scene. Like, I,
No,
I didn't grow up in the 1990s ball scene. Yes, I've walked in a ball, but that's not my queerness
but
doesn't
Candace doesn't know.
doesn't come from the ball. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
And I do see it as paying homage to our history.
Yeah, Paris is
You know,
burning.
Black trans women, the history of the ball scene, the history of all that. But why are there no Black trans people on Devs? Why are there no Black trans people on, Grey's Anatomy? Why are there no Black trans people on fucking, playing lawyers and playing other stuff? The Black trans experience, it's not just relegated to that. So I feel like we still have a long way to go. We got a long way to go. Yeah. I feel like we still have a long way to go, but it's not, we have to write our own stuff.
Yeah,
That's where I noticed that we have to write our stories and write not the sad parts, but the triumphs.
the glory.
The glory of it all too, of what it means to have someone kiss your tummy. That feels like an episode. You know what I mean? Like I would love to have a show that's like secure with ooh, secure a show like secure with I don't know. What's another show? What's another show? Like Better Things.
Yeah.
Have you seen Better Things?
I've seen like an episode or two, but I this is another one that I couldn't get into.
Oh, it's so I love that show. I love the writing on that show. Have you seen new episode of Secure?
I haven't seen the new episode of Insecure, but I do want to watch that.
The new season's out.
Really?
Yeah, the first episode was last Sunday.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
So good.
Okay, okay.
So good.
I'll fuck with Issa Rae.
Oh shit. We'll have to maybe we can watch it on Zoom.
Okay.
Watch it together. But yeah, just that writing of our experience and making it funny and not this sad thing, but something on a regular basis. And I'm like, you know what?
Normal to us. What's normal to you all? What's normal to just like, living?
Yeah, and and it spurred me to apply to more fellowships and more places where I can go be a writer. I just applied to Jill Soloway's writing fellowship called it's called the Disruptors, and I'm thinking of applying to. I know I got a lot on my plate, but I'm thinking of applying to the Groundlings and the Upright Citizens Brigade for their diversity program. You know, like there's places that we aren't represented in because we don't think we can step into those spaces.
Mm.
Well, I don't want to be the only Black trans one in there. Sometimes you are.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to be.
Sometimes you have to be. Sometimes you have to be the first Black trans firefighter, doctor, social worker, whatever it is. Sometimes you just have to be. Somebody has to.
Yeah, to knock down that damn door.
On the damn door, exactly. So I do feel a need to step into those spaces, but still make sure my needs are met. Make sure that bills are paid and all that kind of stuff. Bills can't be paid on my anger. Okay, that's right. And I'm excited for this project for you. I would love to, any way I can help you promote it.
Oh,
I would love if you need any help, on distribution and stuff like that. I know some organizations would love to see the finished product, like with the my friend at the Trans Lounge. I think she would love this. I know Hollywood Now, the National Organization for Women, have always stood behind trans women and trans femmes. So that this will be something that they would totally put money, help behind too.
To
You know,
build.
I know this is your project for school too, so I'm excited for what that looks like too.
It's for school, but it's really for myself. I like I said, I could only did like 2-3 people, but I was like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna turn this to a series. It's gonna have 10 episodes. It's gonna have 10
And
different
be prepared, and be prepared for people to go, why are you as a Black woman trying to sound the horn for them?
mm,
You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that from people of, why are you, what makes this your fight?
mm,
You can have babies, you can procreate. Why is this your fight too? You know what I mean? People are gonna ask you about that. You know, ask you about that kind of insight, because I feel like we connect with each other as femmes, we connect to each other as artists,
mhm.
we, you know, we connect to each other with, as we connect to each other on so many different levels. And a lot of people won't see that or appreciate that. And that's okay. You ain't gotta appreciate it.
I know what this is. We know what this is.
We know what's up.
But also, if people do ask me that question, I mean, my answer is very simple. I am spiritually led to this moment.
Ooh, and you cannot argue with that.
Universe.
Spiritually led. Ooh, I gotta write that down. I am spiritually led to this moment.
And there are all those questions. I mean, all those doubts already hit me. Like, I could have just gotten away with doing something so simple and so basic, but I was like, that's not this is not the work that I'm here to do. My mission is so much greater. So I'm going to talk to as many people who are willing to talk to me. I'm going to do it on the platform that I can create for myself. I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm going to call it a fucking day. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope that something grows out of this work. But I mean, so far from what I have, I'm very proud of it.
My friend at the Lavender Effect too will probably be very interested. He likes audio histories,
Mm,
and he loves this stuff like that too. I gotta hit him up for you. There's a bunch of people I know who will be very interested on this kind of story, especially from the Black experience, the Black queer experience, the Black trans femme experience. There's so many layers to this that you could get it archived.
okay. Wow. Well, this should be done by Sunday.
You're like, whoa.
I'm ready to go on Sunday. No, I'm joking.
So
Uh,
you're gonna take this and edit it now?
no, so I'm actually keeping everything 100%, 100%, 100%. So there's gonna be the your face. So there's
On
gonna
what?
no, there's nothing. I think all your answers were brilliant. Like, wow. But I'm gonna keep
Mhm.
this video and upload it to my YouTube, and then there's also an audio that's been created, and that audio is gonna be part of a playlist, and it's gonna be part of a playlist of 10 episodes. So
Oh my
if
gosh, we talked for like 2 hours.
did we really? With you, Barbie-Q never exists. It never exists.
We talked like 2 hours. So anyone listening to this, thank you for listening.
If you got to this point.
Thank you for listening. And if you got to this point, you done learned all about my Black ass right now. And I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the love, and I appreciate the understanding. And I'm pretty much an open book for anyone who has questions on addiction or transness or non-binariness, that kind of thing. Bullshitters will be blocked, you know, cut, slice, blah. But other than that, I'm open to all of it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna end our recording right here.
Okay.
Okay.